Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Tuesday show here where we're going to talk a little top 10 quarterbacks in college football. Just kind of a poll the WTP sports dudes put together. Everybody mailed me their list, and I tallied everything up. So you're going to get the official WTP sports dudes top 10. But before we get into that, as we always need to do, we need to bounce around the screen and give everybody a chance and give a little introduction on themselves here. We've got Post Game over there. Up there, he's huge, great basketball content, Notre Dame content, huge knowledge there on basketball and Notre Dame, anything and everything Notre Dame. So what's going on over in Indiana?
Man, it is all good. You know, this type of the year, this part of the year, man, it's a lot of end of the year events for the kids, graduations, final volleyball games, plays, this and that. So it's been a joy kind of hanging out with my kids these last couple of days. How y'all doing, man? It's good to be back on with y'all.
Doing good. I remember those days when my kids were in school, man. I felt like I did more running with the kids than I did at work. But wouldn't pass it up for anything. Sitting right below Post Game is the founder of the WTP Sports Dudes, Robert. He's the one who put us all together and a little bit knowledgeable on a little bit of everything. Man, we'll jump on anything, but do not ever talk about his Texas Longhorns in a bad way, because he will turn into just some sort of monster you don't ever want to see. What's going on over there?
I'm doing great. That's exactly right. I do get big, huge muscles. I just don't turn green when you start talking trash about my Longhorns, so you better watch your mouth. But I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here with y'all tonight, ready to talk some top 10 quarterbacks going in college football 2026. I'm excited about that. I'm ready to talk that talk.
For sure. A lot of good debate coming on this, I'm sure. Then right next to him, man, down there in the bottom left corner, the man of many takes, but one is always the most popular. One take, Zay, is in the building down there. I know you're going to have a lot going on. He's our hardcore Buckeye right there. So he's already been throwing the horns down because those two got a little something coming up here in a few months. So we're going to see how that plays out. What's going on in your world, brother?
Nothing much, man. Ready to get it cracking. Yeah, y'all know Rob going to crawl up into his cave in September, man. We might not see him after that, man.
Yeah. We may not. I guarantee we'll see him at the end of the year, though, for sure. So, without any further ado, gentlemen, as we did this exercise today, I asked everybody to send me their top 10 plus some honorable, just some extra names outside that you thought, whatever. So everybody sent them to me. I wrote everybody's down, printed them off, tallied them up, obviously did like we did for our top 25, 10 points for first place vote, all the way down to 1 for a 10th place vote. And with that list, we came up with a top 10. And before we get into our top 10, you'll see when we get into this, you can tell there is 6 quarterbacks that are separated from the rest of the pack. And when we get into the top 10, you'll see that it's a pretty noticeable difference on who we all thought were the best. But before we get into the top 10, let's go through some honorable mention. These guys did not get any votes. However, they did make our list as others. So we'll throw some out there. These are some guys that are on the outside, but with a good year could crack that top 10 list. So we're going to start off. We had Drew Mestamaker, Nico, I have no idea, Vala or however you pronounce his last name. Marcel Reed made the list. Bryce Underwood made the list. Lagway made the list. And the kid from Cal, Saga Tele, made the list as somebody put him down as an honorable mention other person out there. So of those quarterbacks, do y'all see any of them having the potential to crack into this top 10 or even the top 5? We're going through the honorable mention list postgame since I saw you had a little internet issue disconnect. So we're going through the
I
guys who didn't get any votes. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to make sure that the stream was streaming on my channel. For some reason, it's not streaming on my channel. But go ahead with your question.
That's weird. It was clicked on there. I don't know what happened there. It shows it's check marked up here. Oh no, it doesn't. It showed the green check marks gone. Anyway, we were going through the honorable mention people that didn't get any votes, but quarterbacks that potentially could right on the outside, and any of these names that we see that we think could crack the top 10 or potentially the top 5. Or anybody have the ability to make that season? I'll let you start off first on that one, Rob.
Well, the one name that jumps out to me that I feel like should have the biggest chip on his shoulder to go out there and prove to the college football world that he is DJ Lagway, the transfer from Florida to Baylor. I think he's had 2 seasons where he has been really injured and he hasn't been able to really put himself on the map. We've seen him as a freshman, and he played really, really well in the spurts that he played. He had a fantastic game against Georgia, a game that we thought they could have won if he stayed out there. Last year, up and down with the injury. He really didn't start the season off healthy. He had a really good game against the Texas Longhorns and led them to a victory over Texas. I think he's the quarterback on that list, honorable mention guys that really should have a chip on his shoulders to go out there, be focused, make sure he keeps his body healthy, and go out there and spin that thing. Because I think if he can get it right, he could be one of those quarterbacks that could definitely get up in that top 10.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in a system that'll allow it too. We know those Baylor quarterbacks like to sling it around. Who on this list catches your eye, Post, that you think could break into this top 10?
Man, with it being so early on, SEC, I could see even more than the list we have of quarterbacks vying for a top 10 spot. There's a lot this year in college football. I feel like there's going to be a lot of elite quarterback play. And how do we know that to be true? This is the draft that the NFL, these quarterbacks in college right now, these that are eligible for the draft next year, that's what a lot of NFL GMs are looking at as the who are looking for a franchise quarterback. But man, out of all these guys, Maker, Nico, Reed, Underwood, Lagway, I like them all, bro. If I gotta say one, Drew Maker is really intriguing to me. Him going to Oklahoma State and essentially bringing his whole North Texas team with him. His coach, the coaching staff with him to Oklahoma State. They hungry down there, and I think Maker is going to get them something to look forward to from the quarterback position, seeing as though they've been very disappointed, the last few years. So if I got to pick a guy out of this group, for me, it'd be Maker.
Yeah, I definitely see that. We saw what he did last year at North Texas. Granted, it is a step up in competition into the Big 12, but he knows the system, knows everything, and I believe he's actually the youngest one in any of these listed. He's only a true sophomore. So knowing the system and knowing Oklahoma State's ready to get back going like they used to do, I think that's a really good pick. Both of those so far have been really good. We'll jump over and see who our man One Take thinks has the potential here to break it out.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It was Mr. Maker for me too, man. He had over 4,300 yards passing last year. I think 40 something touchdowns, single digit interceptions. He might be a guy that might be single handedly able to change the direction of the Oklahoma State program by himself. He might be the most impactful transfer portal player they had since transfer portal was a thing. But I'm gonna go Marcel Reed, man, because Marcel Reed, when he on, he just on, man. And if he could just wipe out some of them lows that he have and some of them bad interceptions that he have, and just take what the defense give him at times, I think that'll make Texas A&M a contender. I feel like that was the part of their football team that was lacking. Is his lows is just low. So I'm gonna go Marcel Reed.
Well, I obviously like that pick. I agree 100% spot on both. And even what you said post game, it is early to put this out there, but it's just kind of a fun little thing to do. But I definitely agree with you, Zay, 100%. Reed. I think Reed has an extremely high ceiling and I think his gap from ceiling to floor is the widest of any quarterback on this list. He could be phenomenal if you watch the second half of a South Carolina game, and he can be horrendous if you watch the first half of the South Carolina game. But for me, mine was Mestamaker as well. That's just who I had my eye on. I'm kind of curious to see what Lagway can do. I'd like to see a bounce back season, being that he's a Texas kid. Nico, I don't know what we're going to get out of him. I'm really interested in this quarterback out of Cal. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name again, but I'm really interested. That kid has gotten a lot of buzz on talk shows that I've listened to and other podcasts. They're giving a lot of buzz to this kid. So, name to watch out of Cal. A lot of people are saying Cal's the sleeper in the ACC to take the be in the title game. So, we'll see how that plays out. Moving into our next little batch of players, which is these were just the others receiving votes, just missed out on the top 10. And there is these. We have Lenora Sellers, Jennings out of SMU. I think it's DeAndre Williams and Sam Levitt. Kind of thought Sam Levitt would be a little higher up, get more votes, but I guess the injury is kind of pushing people pause button on him right now. So we'll start with you post game on this one. Thoughts on this group and missing it? Do you think any of those would have been in the top 10 when you sent your list in? Did you think somebody else would move them up?
Yeah, I absolutely personally had Jennings in my top 10. I like what Rhett Lashley and that offense does. I know Jennings kind of had a down year last year. I completely expect him to bounce back. I like the receivers they got there at SMU with Cooper, Smith, and Knight. I think they can get the job done this year in the ACC and make some noise. But, I mean, another really good group of receivers. Like I said earlier, some of these guys could move into the top 10, at least my personal top 10 by the time we get further or closer to the season starting. Like, for example, SEC, I know you mentioned Levitt. I want to see how he does, in the summer, if he's healed, if he's ready to go. Levitt is a guy who's definitely going to be in my top 10 if his health checks out. But I personally had Jennings in there. I love Williams. I love Sellers as well. But we can only pick 10.
That's that. I was honestly hoping more people would have sent in a poll so it would spread it out a little more. But, that's where we're at right now. So move over to you, Zay. And I agree with your take on Jennings post is he's kind of like a Marcel Reed type. He'll make plays that make you drop your jaw, and he'll make plays that make you pull your hair out. And it's a matter of eliminating those hair pulling out plays. For me, somebody like me, it doesn't matter. I don't have none to pull out, so it doesn't really hurt too much. Zay, what are your thoughts on the group of four? What any of these, do you think any of these should have been up in the top 10? You did have Williams. You had the vote for Williams. You had him 9th on your list.
Yeah, I like this group. I think this is definitely like splitting hairs. I probably wouldn't have Sellers or Jennings in this group. I think I don't remember who I had at 10, but I like both of those quarterbacks. They definitely got an argument to be in this top 10. It's a few guys out there though that I gave consideration to around this area that was right outside of my honorable mention as well. And like I said, it was kind of more or less splitting hairs. But I think about guys like Bailey at NC State, the Grunkenmeyer kid at BYU. So we really just splitting a lot of hairs when we getting down to this nitty gritty of these 7 through maybe 15 quarterbacks. We see Sellers there. Sellers had a down year last year. If Sellers would have replicated what he did the first year he was out there, we would see Sellers probably way higher on this board. So you can always play your way up. You can always play your way down. So, I mean, I'm not mad at this group of quarterbacks, though. Even Levitt, though. Levitt had a down year last year, but I think the consensus is we know he got players that's going to surround him this year, and he's stepping up in talent level that's going to be surrounding him. So we expect him to kind of probably bounce back. Damon Williams is just electric, though. I'm kind of surprised he ain't a little higher on everybody's board.
Let me get. I want to make sure I got that right. Williams is the kid out of Washington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thought it was. I actually am not going to lie. I straight up just blanked on him. In my list, he would have been on mine. So, but you're right. Going down into this group, it's splitting hairs. All of these guys have had moments where we've been like, wow, and all of them have had moments where we're like, what are you doing? And that's kind of why I think they're down here, because you're just not sure. And Levitt, I think Levitt's down there mainly because of the injury. If you didn't have the injury concern, I don't think Sam Levitt's sitting down there. I think he's higher up on this list. What about you, Robert? Any thoughts on these guys, and you think they're about where they are, or did you have somebody a little higher? I don't think so.
Well, that one vote that Lenore Sellers got, that came from me. That vote that Levitt got, that came from me. That was my number 9 and number 10 in my top 10 list. So I expected both of those guys to be there. Sam Levitt, because I feel like when he's healthy, man, he's probably one of the top 10 best players in the country, quarterbacks in the country, rather. So I had him there at 9. And I didn't feel like I could leave Lenore Sellers off, because I feel like if this guy can actually put it all together, man, and make some things happen for that South Carolina team. And we've been hearing about him for 3 years now. We thought for sure he would be good enough to go to the NFL draft last year. That didn't happen because of the season he had. He's a senior, 3-year starter. I expect this to be the year for him to be a top 10 quarterback in college football. So based on that experience for Sellers, that's why I got him in there at number 10.
Yeah, I mean, that's you're spot on. You had them 9. You gave them their only votes for the top 10, Sellers and Levitt. And I'm going to ask you to correct me if I'm wrong. You probably know more about it because it was your Longhorns. He was the quarterback in that playoff game, wasn't he? Against Texas.
Arizona State, yeah.
And led them back from that huge deficit, right? Him and the running back over there.
Yeah.
But he played like a dog to bring them back. I remember catching some of the highlights. I didn't obviously watch most of the game, but I saw a lot of the highlights, and I couldn't remember. I thought he was the quarterback, and he was really hyped up last year coming in, but then, of course, got injured, and that just kind of derailed that. So the kid's
2 years ago, that one guy over there, He thought Sam Levitt was the truth, but he couldn't even get a vote from him. That guy over there.
That guy over there?
Yeah, one take Zaya, that dude. Oh, he jumped off the screen on that.
Yeah, he jumped off on that one. What's up with that? Real quick before we get into the top here, we got Level Up Sports with what's good this evening. He asked, did anybody, the quarterback from Maryland?
He was a true freshman last year. He's going to be nice. Right. I don't think he's ready to crack that top 10 yet. But he's going to be nice. Yeah. He won't be at Maryland for his junior season. He won't be at Maryland.
No, I'm sure Texas is going to pony up and pay him. But I mean, yeah, I mean that's probably true why nobody put him on their list, the kid, because of the fact that, you know, he was a freshman last year and these other guys have got years under him. Of course, Mestamaker was a freshman too. So these next two just missed the top 10. They ended up with 3 votes each. Now, I put them in a separate category because there was some split decision on the whole Brendan Sorsby eligible or not. Some put him as eligible, some put him as not eligible. So I'm going to put this out there. There's an asterisk by his name because everybody loves asterisks. That these next 2 would crack the top 10 if Sorsby goes out, if he's not eligible. These would be they'd be tied for 10th. And that is Gunnar Stockton and Byron Brown, the transfer from, USF up to Auburn. Those 2 would make the top 10 if Sorsby is ruled ineligible. So that's why they're in their own little group. Kind of shocked. I thought Stockton might be in more top 10s because he's just a dog. He doesn't do anything crazy, but the dude just wins games. So we'll let one take start this one. Stockton, Stockton should have been in the top 10, you think? I mean, I guess if we're basing it on winning percentage, he should be.
Yeah, I had Stockton in my top 10. He's one of them guys. Like you said, he's just a winner, man. And he just going to do what he need to do to get his team a win. So I had him right there at number 8 on my list, I believe. And Bynum, I had him in my top 10 as well because he damn near carried that USF team to the playoffs last year for real. They was like a split hair from making the playoffs, and it was all because of him. Well, that defense was nice too, but offensively, I felt like it didn't work without him. So, we're gonna see what he could do with a level up in the SEC this year. But I think that dude is for real. So I had Bynum right there in my top 10 as well.
Yeah, I like him. My fear on him is the question. Stepping up. Now, he did beat an SEC team last year. They did beat Florida. Now, that wasn't a typical Florida team either. But here being said, he did beat an SEC team. But we'll see what he does week in and week out against an SEC schedule. What about you, Rob? Thoughts on those 2? Do you think one of them or both of them should have been higher?
I was on the fence with Gunnar Stockton and Lenore Sellers at 10, but I went with Lenore Sellers because of the playing experience that he had. I think he has opportunity to try to prove something this year to improve his NFL stock. So I expect him to go out there and play better than Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton is more of a game managing quarterback who's going to win games because he knows he's going to have a solid defense behind him. It's going to take a monumental effort for Lenore Sellers and that South Carolina team to really be in the picture. So I think Sellers is going to have a better – he'll have to carry his team where Gunnar Stockton wouldn't. That's why I put him ahead of Gunnar Stockton. But I really like Gunnar Stockton. I think he's a game manager. He wins games the way he's supposed to. He stays within the system. I would like to see him get better with the long ball. We've seen it against Tennessee, but we didn't see it against too many other teams last year. But I really like him. He was right outside my top 10. And Byron Brown, I like the fact that he can use his legs, but as far as throwing the football, I think he has to take another step to prove that he can be in that top 10. So I didn't quite have him in my top 15, maybe somewhere around 18 or 19 was where I pictured him.
Postgame thoughts? These two, they've said a lot about both of them that I think we both would have said. But any other thoughts you want to add on to them?
Yeah, I mean, again, I like all these quarterbacks. It's just some of them I like a little bit better. Gunnar Stockton, guy said it all. Gussy guy. He's one of those guys who will sacrifice his body to make a play. I like the kid, but I'm really interested to see if Georgia will make it their priority to feed Isaiah Canyon at the wide receiver position, because I think that kid is a playmaker. So it'll be interesting to see that. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Gunnar Stockton, but Byron Brown, this is one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in college, period. I really like Brown. I think he's a physical quarterback, bigger guy. He made a lot of plays with his legs. And the fact that a lot of people don't talk about this is that the majority of the receivers at USF also went to Auburn. So he should be comfortable passing the ball and maybe even have a better offensive line for pass protection. So I like Byron Brown. I had him in my top 10. I definitely think he's going to have a good year in the SEC.
Yeah, it's pretty much what y'all said. Stockton is the game manager. You're right. I want to see what he does if they're going to make an effort to get the ball out. The problem is Kirby and the way he wants to run the ball. And so I think that kind of takes away from some of the opportunities that Stockton might have to push the ball downfield, because Kirby's going to try to run it and control tempo and use that, lean on that defense that they always have. Brown, like I said, you're taking a big step up in competition. He's a dynamic quarterback. He is fun to watch, I will say that, but I need to see how it translates into the SEC versus the competition he had been playing. What were they in? Are they in the is it American? Aren't they in there with like North Texas and all them?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out with Brian. I think these two are kind of right where I would have thought they would be, just right on the outside. So now we jump into our top 10 list, and the 10th quarterback that we had ended up with 5 votes was Hoover, who transferred from TCU to Indiana to take over. Big shoes to fill up there at Indiana. Good quarterback. In my mind, I think he's making a step up in competition level from the Big 12 to the Big 10, of course. So we'll see how that plays out. Thoughts on Josh Hoover? Start off with Robert on this one.
Well, Josh Hoover, welcome to the Big 10. I had him in my top 10. One thing about this guy, though, is he can spin that football. But what he's going to have to get used to in that Big 10 is, listen, you may not have a balanced offense unless you can run the football. And in the Big 10, their main priority is stop the run and make you one-dimensional. Can Indiana prove again this year that they can run the football? If they can, Josh Hoover is going to be lights out. He's going to ball because he got a run game. He can hit him with the play action and all that good stuff. But if they can't run the football, he's going to have a tough time in the Big 10, where the defensive backs are a lot better and they got better pass rush than they have in the Big 12. But I think he's going to fare really, really well. The system is going to fit him. I'm quite sure that Cignetti and those guys are going to have him well prepared week in and week out. I like Josh Hoover at 10. I think I had him somewhere close to maybe 7 or 8, somewhere around in there.
You had him 7. I'll actually tell you, you had him 7. And I had him 10. That's how he got in. So, thoughts on Hoover? Is the transfer going to be troublesome for him, do you think, post game with the step up in competition?
No, not necessarily. Because if you look at Josh Hoover, he's been around college football for a while. He's made a lot of throws, a lot of plays. He's played a lot of football. That's the exact type of quarterback that Kurt Signetti is going to go out and get. He fits what he wants to do on offense. I think I know it's hard to say people are sleeping on Indiana this year, but I think people are sleeping on Indiana this year. I think they're going to be just as good. I love the Nick Marsh getting the transfer portal. And let's not forget Charlie Becker will be back as well. So he's going to have a lot of weapons to play with. Can they do it again? I'm not saying they can or can't. I just think that Indiana, just because of the logo, is being slept on a little bit. Just a little bit.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. As are one of the resident Big Ten supporters here, what are your welcoming thoughts for Mr. Hoover scrolling up in here into the Big Ten? Zay?
Yeah, I did not have Hoover 10 or not even in my honorable mention. I think what we seen from him at TCU, he had to take way more risk. So he was probably a little less careless with the football. I think him going to Indiana actually will be a benefit to him. But I do want to see it on the field. So I just like that some of those other guys better. But he can spin it. He is a bit of a gunslinger, and I like gunslingers. So I like him over there with Sig. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see Sig put the back shoulder fade on his in his repertoire from day one. That's Sig's go-to. That back shoulder throw too is also something that kind of keeps turnovers down because it's either your player gonna catch it or the ball just gonna go out of bounds. So I think we'll see an uptick in his numbers. His QBR was a little low. I want to say it was a little under 74% last year if you're a QBR person. But I don't know. I liked some of the other guys better. I wouldn't have had him in my top 10, but I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at him being there because he can ball.
Yeah, for sure. We know you like gunslingers, and I'm sure that term will get brought up here again in a few picks up the road when we mention another certain quarterback. I'm sure that's going to come out again. I think Hoover's going to be fine. I think moving into the Big Ten, yeah, it might be a little step up in competition for him, but I think he's with a coach that can get him right, so to speak. Hey, we don't need to be taking all these aggressive shots down the field. Just hit over here, let them guys go do the work for you. So I don't have a problem. I did have him 10th on my list, so I can't be mad at it at all. Next, we're going to go into number 9. We'll let Postgame give his thoughts on this guy. This will be the quarterback out of Arizona, Noah Fafita, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Kid's dynamic. I'll let you give your thoughts on him post game, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, Noah Fafita is a guy I don't think got enough credit for the way he played last season. He had a tremendous year passing the ball. I believe this is his 4th straight year starting. He brings a lot of experience to the table. Arizona is a team like the Big 12. We don't know who's going to win the Big 12 really, or place high in the Big 12 really outside of Texas Tech and BYU. Arizona could be that team. With him throwing the Jordan Speed or Trey Spivey, the 6'4" receiver. I like what he can do. I think he can put up big numbers once more. So Fafita was definitely a guy in my top 10.
Yeah, you most definitely. You had him 8th on your list. Let's see. Anybody else have him on their list? I did. I had him 9th. So, Zay, thoughts on Mr. Fafita?
Yeah, hey, listen, he's a hooper for real. I forgot all about bro. I ain't gonna lie. When I did my list, he totally slipped my mind. He's yeah, Brett Nice. I'm not mad at that at all. For real. I'm sorry, I forgot about him for real. I probably would have slid him somewhere around this range too. But dude can ball for sure. And like y'all said, he a day one starter. He got hey, I love experienced quarterbacks. He done seen every situation in college football. I think Arizona lost a lot though, so we'll see what type of weapons he got this year. But yeah, he just sent the receiver to the NFL draft in the first round. You can't. I don't care how good you are for real. It's hard to go as a top 15 pick at receiver if you ain't got somebody to throw you the ball. So the boy can throw the ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to put up numbers without the ball, so you got to have somebody get it to you. We're going to let Rob go, and then we got our buddy Anthony Manzano back in the chat down here throwing some stuff. We're going to touch on some of his comments after Rob tells us how he feels about Mr. Fafita.
Man, this is a classic example that there's way too freaking many quarterbacks in freaking college football, bro. He totally slipped my mind as soon as you put his name on the board. I'm like, dude, how did I forget Fafita? He would have been outside my top 10, though. He probably would have been somewhere around 12 or 13. But I really like him. I think he's going to make some noise in the Big 12. Listen, if their defense can hold up, like they did 2 years ago, this Arizona team can be good and they can compete with BYU and Texas Tech, in my opinion. If the defense can hold up, because he's going to make enough plays to allow their team to be in every game. The defense just got to hold up their end of the bargain. But I really like Fafita in this top 10. I can see him there for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I had him in my top 10 list. So did somebody else that you did. That's how he got in there. You and me both post game. Yeah. And real quick, like you said, y'all forgot about him. The same thing happened to me with Williams from Washington. I just straight up forgot about him. So it happens, when you're trying to do this, you pencil in your top and then you kind of start filling in and you knew you're going to miss somebody. So happens a little bit, but real quick, let's jump into our man, Anthony Manzano here. He got a question for us. He said, would we consider Drew Mestamaker a gunslinger or more of an in-between? Because he's not really a gunslinger, but he's not really a game manager either. So where do y'all think he stands? And it doesn't matter who goes first on this one, just whoever wants to reply to Anthony.
Yes. So what I mean by a gunslinger, I always say it's somebody that likes to push the ball down the field and take chances. I think you can be a game manager and be a gunslinger. You got two different type of quarterbacks to me. You got game managers. That's your Tom Brady's of the world. They going to make sure you're on schedule every time. He going to take check downs. If it's a shot he can take, he going to take it, but he ain't going to lose the game for you. But then you got game changers, and that's like your Michael Vicks of the world, just super athletic, or they just bring something special to the game. Lamar Jackson's of the world. So I think two things, but I will label Mr. Maker a bit of a gunslinger too at times. He can get gun happy.
Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Man, he's 1,000% a gunslinger, man. That dude wanted to throw the ball 50 times a game if you allow him to. He wants to sling that pill, man. He don't ever want to hand it to the running back. He want to get in the shotgun and say, listen, if you go get this ball, you better go out in the pass route. That cat, to me, is a freaking gunslinger. And he's going to do that, I believe, at Oklahoma State because he's playing in a conference where that's what they do. They spread you out and they gunsling. Except for some of those teams who understand that they got to run the football a little bit more than normal. But I see him as a gunslinger.
Yeah, I think he is a bit of a gunslinger, but I don't think he's going to throw the ball as much as he did at Texas. They still have one of the better running backs in the nation, so I think he's gonna sling it, but I don't think those ridiculous numbers we were seeing at North Texas. I don't think he's gonna do it this season.
Yeah, I kind of agree with him being in between. So I called him a gun manager. I just wanted to figure out something to put out there. So that's what popped into my head.
That's a good one, Sean. I like that. I'm taking that one, bro. Gun manager.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, game slinger just didn't have the same effect as gun manager. So he also popped in when we were talking about Noah Fafita, said he's not a big fan. He's too inconsistent to be in the top 10. He did say he would be number 11. Or we got a Vero 1831 said hello. So hello to you. Whoever Todd Pig 9789, I don't know if anybody knows who that might be, says the SEC is overrated. We hear it a lot. And then Anthony chimed back in on that Mess-to-Maker comment with, he said Brett Favre is a guy, I'm assuming that's who that he's talking about, is a guy who had confidence in his arm even though he's consistently throwing interceptions. So,
Brett Favre was the ultimate gunslinger for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's not a question on that one. Next, we get to number 8 on the list, which is where our asterisk comes into play. This is where there was a little, was he eligible or is he not going to be? So everybody was just kind of voted how they wanted. We let the chips fall. They came out to Brendan Sorsby. We all know the situation going on. We're not going to get into all that. We're just going straight our top 10. He did finish with 7 votes. Again, if he's ineligible, then Stockton and Brown would move into our rankings. So just keep that in mind. So Brendan Sorsby, you think he's actually, Rob, you can hit this one because you actually were one who started saying, you said that you were going to vote him as eligible. So I'll let you go ahead with why he's there.
Well, I think he's definitely probably one of the top 10 quarterbacks in college football. He got a lot of playing experience. He was leading that Cincinnati team that I felt like they weren't very, very good. They had a pretty decent defense that kept them in games. But I felt like him at the quarterback, he was able to get some serious wins for that team who's had a chance to win the Big 12 last year, that Cincinnati team. I like Sorsby. Apparently, Texas Tech likes him too because they pulled out the Brinks truck for him. I know we got old Texas Tech man 9144 in the house with us today. I like Sorsby. I think he's probably around 6 on my list, somewhere around in there. I like him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback if he gets to play. He's going to be playing on one of the better teams in the country in Texas Tech, who's going to have a good defense behind him that's going to allow him that if he does make some mistakes, this defense can come in there and give him another opportunity to get out on the field and correct things and get some wins for them. So I like Sorsby right there. I think he's going to have a good year if he gets to play.
And that's the underlying question nobody knows when doing this ranking is what's the answer? Post and Zay, y'all voted that he wasn't going to be eligible. You left him off your ranking, but totally fine. There was no right or wrong answer on that. That was just kind of a decision. So based on our rankings, with him playing, obviously, thoughts on Brendan Sorsby and what he brings to Texas Tech. And it doesn't matter. Either one of y'all can go. Whoever wants to jump on this first.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If he's eligible to play, Brandon Sorsby, I think, is definitely going to be in the top 10. Like you said, or like Rob said, Texas Tech apparently loves him too, because they paid him a lot of money. But I mean, if he plays, I think he'll be great. I think Texas Tech will win the Big 12. If he doesn't, it's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, if he's eligible, which I don't think is, I think it's more likely he's not eligible than he is. That's why I ended up leaving him off my list. But if he's eligible, he got the potential to be a top five quarterback. If you ran it back last year with that Texas Tech team, all they was missing at quarterback was a guy like him, and they probably could have did something in that playoff.
Yeah, it's good we have Texas Tech fan in here on this one. He actually just posted a comment about this whole thing. He said Sorsby's team thinks he's going to only get a 4-game suspension. We're not going to get into the debate on whether we think that's right or wrong. That'll take up another. We'll be on that topic for hours. So he said that was said 8 hours ago. So yeah, in my mind, if he's eligible, Texas Tech is Texas Tech. They're going to be fine. If he's not, I think Tech could be in problem. We'll see. They do have a quarterback who did get some time last year still on the roster. So we'll see. But he was injured last year too. So we'll see how that plays out with Tech.
Well, if he only get 4 games, they should survive.
Unless they lose all 4 of those games. But
Will Hammond ain't that bad.
No, they're not that bad. Yeah, if it's only a 4-game suspension, I think Tech will be fine. But we're going to see what happens. We'll let the system do what it does. Moving out even further west, we're going to go to Mayava out of USC. And this is obviously, we're into names now that was pretty much on everybody's list. I don't think Robert had him on the list actually at all. Did you, Zay? No, you didn't either, Zay. So I guess
I had him on my list.
Oh yeah,
I had him right at 7.
Yeah, you did. You had him right here. That's my fault. I looked at the wrong thing. Yeah, you had him 7. Post had him 8, and I had him 8. So since you had him ranked higher, we'll let you jump first with this one. What do you expect out of the kid? I mean, got all the talent in the world and got a stable of receivers out there.
Yeah, I was talking about QBR earlier. You know, if you're a fan of QBR, he was second in the country in QBR last year. Dude was really playing lights out for real. I don't know if people was paying attention to him, but he was really playing lights out. He did have some extraordinary weapons over there with Jacoby Lane and what's the crazy kid name?
Lemon.
Makai Lemon. Thank you, Rob. Makai Lemon. He had definitely some talent over there. I know Lincoln Riley gonna have some receivers over there. I don't really expect him to lose much in the weaponry department. I think the key thing that really helps him is that run game, though. When you can keep a team off balance, you can make them pick their own poison. So as long as their running game is strong again, I expect him to have the same type of stat line he had last year. Now, the only reason why I had him so low is because when I watch him play, I think the guys that I ranked over him, it just looked way more natural. Like it's something stiff about him. And, I think just the guys above him either got more juice or it just looks way more fluent when they're in the pocket. So, but nevertheless, we right in this alley where we seeing a lot of these dudes right here, man. If you need a quarterback next year and these dudes perform well, you can just scout all of them and figure out who fits your system the best and go get them.
Yeah, we'll jump from who had him ranked highest over to we're going to let Post go. He had him ranked 8, and then we'll let Rob finish since Rob hates the guy apparently and decided not to rank him.
Yeah, I mean, Mayava has a cannon for an arm. He can really get the ball downfield. My concerns is that, he lost Lane and Lemon to the draft. I know USC is a program that recruits great at the wide receiver position, but are those guys going to be able to step up and replace the production from a Lane and Lemon? So that remains to be seen. But I mean, Mayava is definitely a top 10 guy for me, man. He has a really talented arm on him.
Yeah,
this
the
is
receivers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going to chime in on the receivers. I'm telling you, the receiver to watch out there is Feaster, the Booby Feaster kid out of DeSoto. That kid is electric and phenomenal. So, Rob, you didn't even have him in your just missed top 10. Rob has no faith in this kid leading a team, apparently.
No, it's just another classic example of so many freaking quarterbacks out there, man. He totally slipped my mind too. I mean, especially when you go back and you think about the wide receivers he had, the season that he had last year. He definitely should have been in my top 10, man. But I like I said, it's just way too many guys out there. Sometimes you're gonna miss one or two, and I apparently done missed two. So, I mean, I really like the guy, though. But the thing is, though, he's not going to have those two wide receivers. He's going to have Feaster, but is he going to be able to put more on his shoulders and lead that USC team to at least a Big Ten conference game? Or is he going to make them reach the college football playoffs? It shouldn't have to wait till we get to 24 teams for USC to get into freaking college football playoffs. But that might be the case. He needs to get them there, and I think he needs to get them there this year because otherwise Lincoln Riley's seat might get hot unless that defense turns around. I just think he's a really good quarterback, but he got to put some more on his shoulders and lead that team, that USC team, to the college football playoffs, or at least get into the conference championship game in the Big Ten.
For sure, we're going to try to speed up a little bit through the top 6 here. This is where the gap happens. This is where you can tell everybody had all these guys on their top 10 for sure, but you can see the massive gap. Mayava came in at 7th with 11 total votes. Our next one up is our number 6 quarterback, Julian Sayin from Ohio State with 24. So a 13-point gap from 7 to 6 kind of tells you where the line's drawn as far as we all believe. So we'll let Zay go last. He's probably got some good takes on him. Rob, you can hit this one first with Sayin.
I really like Julian Sayin. I think I might have had him in my top 4 or 5 around there. I really like him. I think his completion percentage was off the charts. I think he ended the season at maybe 78% completion rate. The thing that concerns me about him is when he doesn't have those big-time guys, does he fall off a little bit? And I think we might have seen a little bit of that last year. But his accuracy is off the charts. I really like Julian Sayin. He was his first year starting. I think we're going to see an even better Julian Sayin in 2026. He got a year under his belt. He got a chance to go back and watch that film, see where he might have made some mistakes, see where he probably should have used his legs as opposed to holding on to the football and taking the sack. I think we're going to see a really good Julian Sayin. That's why I had him in my top 5. He lands at number 6 in our poll.
Post game.
Yeah, Rob made interesting points, man. When you talk about Julian Sayin, obviously a Heisman candidate, really accurate kid. Here's the thing. When I think about Ohio State and I think about Julian Sayin, and I think about them hiring Arthur Smith as their new offensive coordinator, could this be a better fit for what Julian Sayin does? And it ultimately help him be a better quarterback? Because we all know Arthur Smith. He used a lot of 12 and 13 personnel. They want to be physical. They want to run the ball. They want to set up play action. Could that be a better fit for Julian Sand? That's the thing I'm interested to see.
Good point.
Yeah. Ju saying he definitely is a laser target guy. He's not a risk taker for real. He doesn't take too many risks. Um, I think post game, he hit it on the nail. I think Arthur Smith and his play style is definitely gonna fit Julian Sam better. I think as far as the numbers, you might see a downtick in turnovers, but I don't really think his numbers can really get better than what he did last year. I mean, he had an 88 QBR. You know, he could probably get closer to 4,000 this year if that play action, that run game is humming a little bit, and he can push the ball down the field a little bit more this year. But Julian Sand came in at 5 for me, right around this area. So that's pretty much accurate for real. 6, I ain't mad at 6.
Yep, that's kind of where we thought. Everybody, just for a little transparency, Zay had him 5, Rob had him 4, post game you had him 5, and I had him 6. So about right where he averaged out. So moving on up into the 5th position will be another really highly talked about transfer. We'll let Post, you can hit him first. Darian Mensah from Duke to Miami. Talk about backing up the Brinks truck for Sorsby. Well, there was another one backed up right here, I'm pretty sure. So, Mensah, thoughts post game?
Yeah, I like the transfer to Miami. I know a lot of people talk about Tony, and rightly so, but they also brought over the receiver from Duke and Barquet. I think that dude can make plays in his own right at the receiver position. So I love Darian Mensah. I definitely think this is a guy who can shoot up even higher as we get into the games in the fall. But as of right now, I had him around this range, I believe. I like Darian Mensah. I like the weapons he has. I look for Miami's offense to be better than last year when they made the run to the title. Can't say the same about the pass rush and the defense, though.
Yeah, that's how I feel about this pickup too with Darian Mensah. Darian Mensah is going to be a really good quarterback for that Miami team. He's playing in a conference that he's already familiar with. He's already going to have a lot of tape that he's already been through with the teams that they're going to be facing. I like Darian Mensah there. I think I had him maybe 3, somewhere around in there, maybe 4, 5, somewhere around in that range. But, man, I think he's going to be lights out for them. He's going to have a running game. Now, they got to replace 2 serious linemen, though. But I think Miami is a team that can do that. I like Darian Mensah. I think he's going to be really, really good this year. The thing about him is you got to make sure that you manage this team. You can't go out there and make boneheaded mistakes. There were stretches where Carson Beck made mistakes in games that cost them. He cost them that national championship game on that last throw by making a bad throw that wasn't necessarily needed. Mensah can't do the same thing, and that Miami team can be really, really good this year.
Yeah, hey, this is my early favorite in the Heisman race. I'm just, the numbers he put up at Duke, he put them numbers up at Duke. So with this supporting cast that he about to get at Miami, I just really don't. I think this might be my favorite for the best offense in the country to start off the year. You return Mark Fletcher, Malachi Tony. Rob said something about replacing the tackles. I'm not really too worried about that. They signed Jackson Cantwell, who was the number 1 tackle in this recruiting class, but I don't even think he's going to start because it was 2 guys that they like. behind the last two guys. So, man, this offense is going to be scary. I tell you, this offense is going to be nice. Darian Mensah, early favorite Heisman.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular pick there with him being the leader in the preseason for the Heisman. Kid's got all the talent. We're going to see. Miami's going to be scary. If it clicks, they're going to be scary. You mentioned they did get that tackle. I'm glad they did because that pushed the number one tackle in next year's class to A&M. So thanks for recruiting that kid. We're going to let postgame go last on this one. Zay will go first, then Rob, then postgame, because as we come to number 4, we enter with CJ Carr with 26 votes.
Yeah, CJ Carr, man. Yeah, listen, really, he came in at number 6 on my list. And let me tell you why. I think he's an ultra smart guy. He played bad against, I want to say it was Miami last year. That's the only game I've seen him play bad in. But outside of that, he really was lights out all year. But I have a hard time putting him above the guys that I had on my list because I just don't think they played the same comparable talent as these other teams and what these other dudes proved to me. Outside of Allah Arch Manning, who didn't play as well as him on the field, who I do have higher, but I just think Arch he gonna take off this year, but we'll get the Arch. And the other reason is, you know, my man my brother Postgame told me he wasn't even supposed to win the job last year. So I that kind of affected my rankings. You know, the fan that we got on our panel felt like Steve Angeli should have won that job, honestly, you know. So kudos to him. He won the job and he ran with it on the by the storm. But that stuff still kind of backticked it on the other guys that I got on the list that's ahead of him. But not to mention this, if he ball out this year, he might be looking. Is he a red shirt? Yeah, he might be the number 1 quarterback coming out because they got weapons everywhere. And I can see him putting together a season that can stamp him as a Heisman too, and we see him be the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah, I like CJ Carr. I had him 6 on my ranking. In this, I like Carr. I think he's going to have an opportunity this year to play with some wide receivers that got another year under their belt, another year for him to be able to get enough gelling with those wide receivers to be better than he was last year because he's not going to have the running back tandem that he had last year. Even though they're going to have some good running backs, they're not going to be Jeremiah Love and Price. They ain't going to be those dudes. Jadarian Price. It ain't going to be those two guys, man. So I think it's going to be more on Carr's shoulders, but I think he's going to be ready for that. He's going to be in his 3rd year. He's going to be ready to ball out, and I think his receivers are ready to step up as well. We didn't get to see as much of them as we would have liked to have seen last year, but this year I think we're going to see a whole lot more of them, and I think Carr's going to do really, really well. Todd Pig, 97.89. I know you're saying that the SEC is overrated, but I guarantee you're one of those guys who's watching the SEC football week in and week out because it's always the hottest thing on TV when it comes to college football. And you can say what you want to say about Arch and put the LOL behind it, but you already know Arch Manning balled out those last 5 or 6 games of the season. So you might want to retract that LOL. You might want to retract that.
Overrated.
Go ahead, postgame. Tell us about CJ.
Well, first of all, I think any of these guys, once we get to this range, any of these guys can be 1 or whatever order you got them. But I'm pretty sure we got it down packed that this is the cream of the crop. CJ Carr to me is a little bit underrated in our own polls. This is a guy who has all the weapons to be one of the best players in college football, regardless of position. Tom Brady, anybody heard of him? Said last year he's the best quarterback in the nation. And that was just his first year starting. I expect CJ Carr to take a jump when you got guys like Quincy Porter, Miley Graham, Jaden Grayhouse, and so many receivers. He'll have so many weapons. I haven't seen the receiver room at Notre Dame like this probably in my lifetime. Also, FanDuel has him the favorite to win the Heisman. I think CJ Carr is definitely one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the country, if not one. And he'll have his chance to prove that.
I'm not going to lie. When you said that FanDuel has him as the Heisman favorite, I had to do a double take because y'all remember that used to be one of our members' names on this channel.
Hey, he tried.
So I was like, Zay got him at the Heisman favorite.
Hey, no, listen now. I know I got Mensa, but he top 3 for me. He number 3. I got Jeremiah at 2. He number 3. That offense is going. That it's between them and Miami, who fighting for that best offense on paper, as far as I'm concerned right now.
I'll say this one thing about CJ Carr. I'm glad we played him in the second game of the season and not the last game of the season. That's all I'm going to say about CJ Carr. So we're going to get into the top 3 in a second. Anthony, we already hit that with Anthony. He asked about Darian Mensah. That's our thoughts on him. Our buddy, Texas Tech man, our old guy or whatever he is, he's the one who always likes to talk trash about College Station, decided to jump in and say that there's a kid from Tulsa, Kirk Francis, said he was probably going to be the starter out there at Tech until Hammond is ready to return. If Sorsby, I'm assuming, is ineligible. So looks like they have a game plan in place for Tech. So just kind of what he wants to put out there. And then he, of course, got some other kids that are going to be coming in next year's recruiting class. We'll get into that. We're not going to get into the recruiting classes for 2028 yet, or 7.
Hey, can I say this real quick?
Most definitely.
Well, I wanted to mention when it comes to CJ Carr, can you imagine being Gino Guidugli, the quarterback coach at Notre Dame, being able to sit in these recruits' homes and tell them, I got 3 quarterbacks starting for Power 4 teams. Angeli, Minchie, and Carr. He developed them all.
Where'd Minchie wind up?
Kentucky.
That's where I thought he went. I knew Angeli went to Syracuse. Man, that Syracuse team, if that kid's healthy, is going to be something to be watched. But yeah, I couldn't remember where Minchie went to. I thought it was Kentucky, but I wasn't 100% sure. Jumping in the top 3. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss. Got approved for an extra year of eligibility. Helps when you have a Mississippi judge over the case, I'm sure. But Trinidad Chambliss. Rob, I'm going to let you hit this one first because you're going to go last in a few minutes. So you can hit this one.
I really like Trinidad Chambliss. I think I might have had him number 3 on my list. I really like him. I think what he was able to come in and do for Ole Miss last year, once their starting quarterback went down, he took the ball and ran with it, and he played lights out for the remainder of that year. Hopefully he can come back with that experience from last year and really light it up again this year for Ole Miss. I really like him. I think his stats may not be as good as they were last year because he's not going to sneak up on anybody. Teams are going to be able to plan for him in the offseason. I'm not quite sure they're planning for him right now, and they're going to try to take him and Lacey away and force some other guys to beat them. But I think he's still going to have an exceptional season. He has really good legs, with the mindset of always keeping his head looking downfield to make a throw. And he's not afraid to make some dangerous throws downfield whenever he's trying to extend the play. So I like Trinidad Chambers, and I like him at number 3.
For sure. Not a bad one there. I have a follow-up question on Chambliss when everybody gives a little take on him. Post, you want to hit Chambliss next, or Zay, whichever one you's ready to roll with him?
Yeah, I hear it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with Rob. I really like Chambliss, man. I thoroughly enjoyed him playing football last season throughout the year and even in the playoffs. But I still think he's going to be a dominant quarterback. But I don't know if it's going to be to a certain level as everybody expects, because losing Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr., you can't just go out and pick up guys like that. I think they accounted a lot for that offense and the potency of it. I still think Chambliss is going to be great, being able to use his legs and get the ball downfield. He's going to have a phenomenal season, but I don't think it's going to be to that level everybody expects with him losing those coaches.
Yeah, I think Chambliss was just getting started last year. You know, he moved from a Division II school and went in the SEC and balled out of control. I think the jump from Division II to the SEC is going to be a harder, more difficult task to overcome than losing the head coach. So Chambliss came in at number 2 for me, man. I think that dude is a monster. I think he's going to be good in the league. And I like how tough he is. I like how he not scary. I like dudes that play the quarterback position not scary, and he play like that. And I could see him, like I said, these dudes we talking about at this tier, these dudes all can win the Heisman, man. It's just about who play the best in key moments throughout the year for real.
Yeah, I had a follow-up, but y'all kind of hit on it. My follow-up was, do you think the coaching changes are going to affect his play, his numbers, so to speak? Are they going to lean more on that running game? But y'all pretty much mentioned it already, so we'll just kind of put that on the back burner for another day. We're going to go Zay, Post, Rob on this one, because thank God it wasn't number 1, so we don't have to listen to more of an ego about this guy. Here comes the half of the McDonald's logo, Arch Manning. Zay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think something clicked for Arch last year, especially watching that last game of the year. I can't remember who they was playing, but I know they did a camera cut to him after he did something or he didn't make a throw, and he was like, "I'm just gonna stop giving a fuck." That was his words. You know, you could read his lips. I feel like y'all about to see Thanos Manning this year. He gonna be on some Thanos Manning time. So, hey, I'm an Arch fan. I know the kid catch a lot of slack because of what his name, a lot of strays because of what his last name is. People say he don't deserve the hype. This, that. Dude got all the tools for real. Now he just got to bring it out of himself. I hope he was with his uncles this off season studying film. I hope he been working with his new weapons that he got around there, because I expect big things out of Arch. You know, I think he could be one of them guys. And like I said, I had him 4th on my list, but it's only because I feel like the other 3 guys I had ahead of him, I seen it on the field. Now that's the next step, Arch. We just got to see it consistently on the field.
Yeah, right on SEC. I mean, to me, it's just talking about Texas as a team. If they figure out that offensive line, look out. I think Arch Manning is going to be able to rely on his running game heavily with the 2 running backs they got through the portal. I know we talked about them quite a few times, but I mean, now that he has tape on himself, can you imagine him sitting down with Peyton studying? and getting better, maturing. And again, he was on fire the last few games of the season. He really played well. That's the Arch everybody was expecting. So I expect Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns to have a huge season. I think the fact that he's able to rely on that running game more this season is going to help him out a lot. And then he's dangerous with his legs. 1, 2, 3. I have no problem wherever he lands.
Man, our Longhorn
know what it
expert.
is. That's his shot. No, that's his shot. You gotta come in there, bro. Let me take over.
No,
Let's
we
go.
can just move on to number one. Do y'all care? Y'all just want to go to number one? Y'all just want to move to number one?
Oh, okay. I'm putting number
Go
two. I'm putting number 2 on my board too. So I didn't have him at number 1. But I'm gonna tell you right now, old Texas Tech man 9144. Listen up. You better be glad you don't gotta face Arch Manning, because he will shred y'all up like some Swiss cheese. Listen, I think this guy understands how to play the game. He ain't got all that noise in his ear, all that stuff in his head. He ain't worried about that pressure. This guy overcame some serious stuff last year, man. And I'm telling you right now, like One Take Zay said, he just said, fuck it. And he gonna go, and he went out there and started balling out. I think he understands I ain't always got to throw the deep ball. I got running backs I'm going to be able to check down to. I got a tight end I can check down to extend these drives, and I can use my legs if I need to too. I ain't got to always go for the home run ball. I think he got caught up in that early in the season, along with the fact that everybody had put a lot of pressure on him to be such a great quarterback because of that last name on his back. But I think this year he's been working with those wide receivers. And I don't know if y'all know this, but they're in Louisiana, and they're out there kicking it. Him, Emmett Mosley, Ryan Wingo, Cam Coleman, and the other guy to transfer from Wake Forest. They're in Louisiana throwing the ball, working out. And those guys are gelling. Something that we didn't get to see Arch Manning do last year with the wide receiver core because those guys was banged up. I'm telling you right now, if this offensive line does what it needs to do, Arch Manning with a Steve Sarkisian mind is going to ball out. He better ball out because I need it. I need my Texas Longhorns to make it to the college football playoffs, win the national championship. So this guy down here at my left, quit talking that trash at work. Hook.
Oh, man, you funny, man.
So there's your Arch Manning hour presented by Robert. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think when Arch made that little fuck it and I'm just going to play, I honestly think there were reins put on him to not run the ball. Seriously. And I think he just said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And just once he started running, a whole dynamic changed. Like I said, I mean, if we play Texas, if A&M played Texas earlier in the year, I think we beat Texas. Same with CJ Carr. I think if we played Notre Dame, if we flip those two games, we beat Texas and we lose to Notre Dame. I honestly feel those quarterbacks made that much progression throughout the year on both sides. So I actually had Arch number 1. I'm still hoping that if I keep putting Arch in Texas number 1, that the jinx is going to kick in. But I will say this: Arch was seen hanging out on the A&M campus with a girl from A&M.
So he like a little A&M, woo woo. That's all right.
Well, that's right. We're trying to find out who she is so we can tell her what to cook for him before Thanksgiving.
Man, you crazy. He using her. It ain't the other way around.
That's all fun. I mean, don't order pizza in Utah before a playoff game either.
Hey, do y'all play them this year?
We play them every year. Yeah.
Yeah, she about to make Hey, she about to make somebody weak at the knees right before the game, bro. For Arch. She doing it for Arch.
We're hoping she do it. This one we're going to, let me see. Rob went last. Zay went first. We're going to go post game Robert Zay on this one, just because we all kind of know who the number one in our poll turned out to be, Mr. Moore from Oregon. Jump on.
Yeah,
what
my
do you
man.
got with Moore?
I mean, he was one for me. Here's a guy, if he would have entered the draft, he probably would have went second to the Jets. He had a good year last year. I think it came out where he was dealing with something mentally or something through the season. So that tells me he should be a lot better this season. Having DeCorian Moore and Evan Stewart as weapons, I know Oregon lost their offensive coordinator, but I believe they promoted from within. They should be fine. I expect Mr. Moore to have a heck of a season. I loved him coming out of high school. This is a guy who was supposedly silently committed to Notre Dame, and that switched. But it is what it is. I can't take nothing from him. He got talent, all the talent in the world. If he puts together the type of season I believe he can put together, we're looking at the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Man, he was. My bad, Zay.
Nah, it should go ahead.
Yeah, go, Robert. I'm going to have Zay go last.
Yeah. I had him number one on my board as well. Man, when I'm thinking about it, I'm sitting there like, dude, if the right teams get the top 10 picks, the ones that need quarterbacks, bro, we're going to see a rash of quarterbacks that we all, I think, feel like are going to be really good NFL players, man. And when those dominoes start to fall to those teams that need quarterbacks, they can't go wrong with a lot of these guys that we got on this list, especially not them top 5 or 6 guys. I really like Dante Moore. If Evan Stewart can stay healthy, along with DeCorian Moore, the top 2 wide receivers in the last couple of years coming out of the state of Texas, they're going to be so freaking talented, man. And I'm telling you right now, and I hope that this is the case. I hope, that, and I don't know if they play in a regular season, but I would love to see an Ohio State, Oregon, Big Ten championship game, bro, to see Julian Sain, Dante Moore, Jeremiah Smith, Evan Stewart, the receivers, the other receivers Ohio State got with the coin. It's gonna be phenomenal, man, to see that game. So I like Dante Moore, and I think that if the draft was to happen today, he will probably be the number 1 pick if that team needs a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that Dante Moore wouldn't have went number 1 in this year's draft. I think when people really got down to studying film and looking at Dante Moore faced up against Fernando Mendoza, I kind of feel like the Raiders might have leaned towards Moore, but I'm not mad Moore came back. It was his first year starting last year. We all heard about the numbers of quarterbacks and how successful they are in the NFL with a certain amount of X amount of starts. So I'm actually happy he came back to get another year of college quarterback experience. And Rob, we do play them. We play them this year, so you'll get to see that in the regular season. We play them. I believe they coming to Columbus. So you get to see that pop off, man. But let me say this. Out of these names we said, and the fell in the top 10, you mark my words, 4 of them gonna flop. 4 of them, I call 4 right now that's gonna flop. I don't know which 4, but 4 of them is gonna flop. We seen it last year. It was like 5 guys flop last year. So I think we're gonna see some dudes that don't live up to the hype this year.
I can agree with that. I think the guys that might have the bigger chance to flop or at the back end of this. I don't know. I mean, we did see Nussmeier, Klubnik all flopped last year. And then they were highly regarded. So for sure, most definitely, it can definitely happen. I think it's a good list. For anybody tuning in real quick, we went Hoover, Fafita, Sorsby, Mayava, Sayan, Mensah, Carr, Chambliss, Arch Manning, and Dante Moore was the number one overall quarterback from the WTP Sports Dudes. Yeah, we're do this once in a while, probably at least once every 2 or 3 weeks on the way towards the season. We're going to break down running backs, receivers. We're not going to break down offensive line. I think that would take way too long. We may do a top 5 offensive lines around the country, but then we're going to get into some of the DBs and stuff as we get closer to the season. We'll do a coach ranking too, right before the season starts. So other than that, good list. Know we probably got some people tuning in that want to quick update on the local Cleveland basketball team. They are up 48-46 at the half over the Knicks. Other than that, check out all our channels, guys. Scrolling down there at the bottom. I know we appreciate everybody that joined in with the chat with your questions and comments. Good to see everybody there. Go like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for everyone. Subscribing's free, don't cost nothing to nobody. You can find all of us on YouTube. You can find WTP Sports Dudes. We're over on Patreon. Some of the places have TikToks, Instagrams, all the stuff going. But definitely you can find us on YouTube. You can also go visit the website at WTPSportsDudes.com. There we have our question. There's info about everything. You can drop an email, ask a question or a topic you want us to discuss on a future show, and we'll get into it. So other than that, anybody got any final thoughts for the evening?
No, I want to say great show, everybody. I appreciate y'all, man. It's always a great time when we get together and talk this here football game we love.
Not for sure. I just want to update Rob too. Hey, play Indiana, USC, Oregon, all in back-to-back weeks. We got a bye between Indy and USC.
What is that? 3 losses?
Hey, we about to do it so clean. Because everybody been yapping like Ohio State did. All we do is win 10+ games. That's all we do.
That's true.
Hey, you ain't gonna argue it. I mean, it's facts. So, other than that, you got anything following, or as we clear on out of here, Rob?
No, just tune in again Thursday night, 7:45. Check us out.
Yeah, for sure. Tuesday night, Wednesday night. There's something almost every night. Y'all go like, subscribe. The notification bell will let you know when we're going live. Go click it. Go check out all of our pages. Go check out the Patreon. Go check out the website, and we'll catch y'all on the next show. So, other than that, then, gentlemen, we're gonna get on out of here. So, everybody have a good night, and as y'all like to close everything out with, we'll just tell everybody, peace.